Next up, we have Bill Sanda with some light language in conjunction with the Akashic Records. Super excited. Let's bring him in.
Awesome.
Hi, Bill. How's it going today?
Welcome, welcome. This has been fabulous. Thank you so much for putting this on.
You're
Uh,
so welcome.
Fabulous energy. And I would suggest that people stand up and stretch a bit too, not just drink water, but also stretch and move your body a bit. This has been quite a while and a lot of energy moving. There we-
Yes, I'm
That feels
feeling
good,
that.
actually.
Yeah, just moving around.
Thank you for that.
So I'm anchoring actually the masculine side since we've had so much beautiful feminine energy, and I'll be anchoring the other side.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Absolutely, my pleasure. So my name is Bill Sanda, and I've been working with the Akashic Records, light language and vibrational tones for over 15 years now. Today we'll talk about light language. Actually, I wrote out almost like a poem before we started today about light language. So if you don't mind, I would like to read this. So this will kind of give you
Mm,
what language is about, and then we'll have a conversation about that. And we'll have a light language meditation at the end today. So you'll actually get an experience of light language, which will be different than anything that you've, in a way, heard today, because there's no interpretation of what we're going to be doing today. So, light language. Light language is a song of the universe. It moves through us, as us, for us. The universe speaking to the human, heart to heart, and bypassing the mind. We are living antennas. You are tuned in your way, I am tuned in mine. And together we rise into greater receptivity, opening, expanding, listening. Yet the static remains, old patterns, old echoes, interference waves of the subconscious mind. And so we breathe, we release, we clear until our true selves emerge, radiant, open, attuned, channels of light ready to hear, ready to sing. This is our sacred task, to tune ourselves more deeply to the frequencies of love, to dwell in compassion, to remember that everything else is only noise, but love is the eternal song, and we are the ones who choose to sing it. So that came to me earlier. Actually, I got chills right now just reading it.
Ooh, that was transporting. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Ah,
So, this thing called light language, what is it? If you've heard of speaking in tongue, which comes from the different Protestant religions like the Pentecostals, you've heard light language. Okay. And people speaking in tongue usually go into a trance, and then out comes these sounds that literally make no sense, that are not interpretable. Well, that in a way is light language. It's frequency conversation that the universe, you might say, embraces us, provides us, in an energy field that is all encompassing, all expanding throughout the universe, that we as humans can tap into. Every human being has the capacity to access, channel light language, every human being. We just don't know it. Probably like 99.99% of all humans have no idea what language is and what it's all about. The term light language is relatively new. It probably came in the 80s or 90s. Nobody really knows who or what or why the term light language came about. But it's this language, it's this frequency, again, it's a frequency conversation that's not interpretable. I want people to really understand it. When I do the meditation today, don't try to interpret or understand what's going on, because this is bypassing your mind, your cognitive self, and it's actually activating into your DNA, your heart energy. What's interesting is that I understand that Russian scientists have recently discovered, using some of their linguists, that the DNA actually encodes language. So language is actually encoded in our DNA, through the four amino acids that comprise our DNA. So we actually are the embodiment of language. And you might call that a precursor to human language. but we are walking, talking language. We're a walking, talking frequency conversation. So in essence, that's what light language is. It's a frequency conversation that we're having with God, creator, or whatever, however you want to interpret that. But we're accessing the energy field that is all embracing. Now, like we work with the Akash, you know, Alice and others have said they worked with the Akash in their various different ways. When I work with Akash, the Akashic Records, I am using light language and vibrational tones to bring forth the frequency of your Akashic Records. So it's not about whatever I'm saying that's interpretable like language, like English or Spanish or whatever, but it's a frequency conversation that's bypassing your mind, your thinking. And I do it on purpose so the language does not, the interpretation of language doesn't get in the way. I've told that the word karma has like 125 different interpretations. So what interpretation are you going to use if you're speaking about karma? And everybody, all the different religions and so on, have different interpretations of karma. So what are you speaking into? So that's why I don't use English language so much. I mean, I do when I'm working with the Akash, but it's not the important thing. Okay, the important is just to be there, to be present, allow the frequency of the tones coming through me to access and to work with your DNA. Now, the DNA itself, you may or may not have heard that back in the 90s when the genome experiment was going on and they were identifying all the human genes, something like 30,000 genes or so. They discovered that roughly 95% of our DNA, what they thought wasn't doing anything. It wasn't communicating chemically with our genes. It would look like it was just kind of sitting there. Well, why would in human DNA only 5% of our DNA be actively communicating with our genes? It didn't make any sense. So they coined the term, a highly scientific term, junk DNA, because they had no idea what it was. They now call it dark DNA, I understand, like dark energy, dark matter, and so on. Well, it took, again, Russians, and not to get into the Russian and all this stuff, but the scientists actually started asking broader questions about our DNA, and they started doing different kinds of experiments, much broader than just identifying the genetic codes. And they discovered that the 95% of our DNA, you might say, is actually quantum energy. Okay, it acts, from my point of view, it acts like software communicating with the hardware, the 5% of your DNA, that's the hardware communicating with your genes and giving it instructions, just like a computer. You know, a computer by itself is just a lump of metal and wires and blah, 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 you know, but once you give it instructions, then it knows what to do. Okay, so the 95% of our DNA is actually giving instructions to the hardwired part of our DNA and what to do and how to communicate, what to communicate to our genes. So what we're doing in working with light language and the frequency conversations, that frequency actually impacts your DNA. And there's a marvelous book that was written by Lee Carroll, the channel for Cryon, Kryon. It was written in 2010, and it was about the 12 layers of DNA, the esoteric nature of our DNA. Okay, and in that book, Cryon really gets into the details of the frequency conversation and the different frequencies involved in all the different layers. Even though we're looking at linear, but there's no real layers. But we humans want to linearize everything and label everything, like our angels and so on. And it really gives a really fabulous description of how our DNA actually operates, you know, and that it's the quantum energy, some would call it multidimensional energy, however you want to do that. So when we're working with light language, again, we're actually having a conversation, if you will, with that 95% of our DNA. Okay, and that is going to alter the instructions. And that's where intuition comes in. Once you can alter your DNA, you can actually enhance your intuition, which I would call as your knowing self. So we're getting down to the very basics of our human, you might say, anatomy, structure, and so on, that we can actually enhance our intuitive abilities by working with frequencies. That could be breath, it could be meditation, it could be anything. I happen to be really tuned to the frequency conversation. but it doesn't really matter what you're doing and how you're doing it, whatever works for you. That's why we have so many different modalities out there. And you heard of, we'll have heard 7 different modalities today, and then you pick and choose what frequencies you're attuned to. If you remember, it said that we are living antennas. You're tuned in your way, I am tuned in mine. And together we rise into greater receptivity, opening, expanding, and listening. So everybody here is tuned in a little bit differently. I have my little antenna out there, and we just tune in how we do, how I do, and you do, and it's all perfect. There's nothing better, worse, wrong, or whatever. It's just whatever works. And that's why, why these summits are so beautiful, in that there's an offering of many different modalities and way of tuning in. And then you pick and choose whatever works best for you at the moment. And that'll evolve over time. I mean, it's evolved for me quite dramatically over time. And I use a number of different modalities for my own work, to expand my own work. So one of the things to know is that light language speaks directly to your intent, your intention, unearthing the core of your vibration that need to be healed for your empowerment. So what we're doing today also is, you might say, this is what I do with the Akashic Records, is not so much providing, say, information about any particular past lifetime and your connection with your brother and your mother and past lives and so on. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is to work with you. I'm a collaborator. I call myself a healing collaborator, and that we work together to access your subconscious patterns through the Akasha or light language, however you want to look at that, to identify those patterns that are impacting you today that may not be in your highest interest, your decision-making, your health, your well-being, and so on. Okay, and so we can then identify those patterns, and then working with the frequencies to shift those patterns or transmute them, transform them into light. So they no longer have an impact on your being, your health, your well-being, the choices for your relationships, job, money, so on, and so forth. Okay, so it's a very, very powerful tool, the frequency conversation, that we'll be doing today. So we'll be doing a meditation today that will work with expanding your ability to work with your intuition. And the way I look at intuition is that it's your inner knowing. You don't need evidence. You just know. You have a sense. Your body just knows. Okay, it's kind of hard to describe in language terms, but it's in the thinking. When I start thinking things, and I think that it's maybe like somebody said earlier today about intuition, it's a different kind of feeling. It doesn't flow. It doesn't feel like clunk. Grounded down to the earth. You just know that that's true. Like when I discovered that I had this gift for the Akashic Records, it was in 2010, and I was working with not working with, but a friend of mine was putting on a program about Edgar Cayce. Hopefully you've all heard of Edgar Cayce, the American prophet, the American psychic, who passed away like in 1946. But his foundation lives on. And so there's a big publishing company, and one of the books that was published and was sitting there was Edgar Cayce on the Akashic Records. Of the 14,000 healings that Cayce did, about 3,000 were done in the Akashic Records, in his way of working with the Akash. And there's no one way of working with the Akash. There's meditations, there's prayer, shamanic journeys, and so on. So there's no one way, just like with light language. And I was walking by the table, and I saw the book, and the book literally smacked me in the head energetically and said, read me. So that's a knowing. I just knew that I had to buy the book, read it, and that's when I discovered I had this gift of the Akashic Records. I had no idea before, but that moment I was open and allowed, and allowing is what's really crucial here. We'll have a lot of resistance. Oh, I don't wanna, I don't believe this is all nonsense, crazy, and so on. But it's really to allow, and I allowed that energy to speak to me. You might call it channeling or whatever. And I discovered, and that's what I've been doing ever since. And working with, and I didn't know at the time, it was also included working with light language. I didn't know that till many years later. That's what I was doing. And things will happen that way. Any questions, anybody so far?
Yeah, there is a question. What was the author of the Cryon DNA book
That
again?
Lee Carroll. Lee
Can you say
Carroll,
it one more time? Lee Carroll. Lee Carroll.
Carroll. And he is the channel for Cryon. Kryon. You can find the book kryon.com.
Awesome. Wow, Bill, like I can really feel the frequencies already talking, like from the poem onward. It is this energetic exchange. So it's like our energy is always speaking to each other without
Yes,
words, right?
yes,
And when we're attuned to that and sensitive to that, we can catch those vibrations. And then they have their own meaning, of course. But it's just fascinating, just beautiful. I can feel it from the very beginning when you started talking. Yeah,
perfect. So
yeah.
what is there anything else, or we'll just start the meditation?
Let's go ahead and start the meditation,
Okay.
and then we'll
So,
have more questions afterward.
right. Okay, so this will be an experience of light language, and the intent is to expand your intuition. Excuse me. Um, so just relax, breathing through your nose or your mouth. It doesn't matter, exhaling whenever appropriate. Allowing Mother Earth, Mother Nature guide to support you on your journey, on your path, on your way. And just allow that beautiful breath of life to flow through every cell of your body, all your cellular memories. Hoya makoya he wa tokoya jamakoya awa tokoye pe ewa. Koye me no kiama koye ewa ta ka jamakoya awa tokoya makoye ehe bata koye jamakoya awa tako makuata. Keye me no kiama koye awa tokoye pe e a uyete e jama koye awa tokoye pe e mawa. Koye me no kiama koye awa tokoye pe he me koya jama koye awa tokoye pe he me kaka jama koye awa tokoye pe he me koa. Koye me no ki ana koye ewa jama koye awa toke ye pehe me ke awa ye ata e he jama ya ya au ya o ya awa a hui pa kuya hao he au e ho e humna au e 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 hui au ni ni no im na wa Hwayam nia wa am nia ya yo yo way am nia jan ya way am na way ya way ya Hwayam nia wa ya wa ya way ya om nia way am nia way ya wa Hwaya way am nia ya yo 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 way 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 really anda Cuba Yachta makuba mna kuya awa mnia ja uya. Koye nachamnia uya awa tukie e awa mnia ja uya mnia ke awa bata kumakata. Koye hamna a japa mnia wa ute a ja mnia awa kuku pamata kuwa a e. Hoye hamna way amni 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 way am. Hoye 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 am. O makupa matokuya jamakupa pamatakawa. Kamakuta ya jakia e me ke kamakuya awa tokuya pe e wataka mnawa. Koye me no hia awa tuku ye pehe me ke awa a takamakoa a jama oia awa a uu. Hoi 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 hoi. Hoi 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 hoi. Ooh. Ooh. Hoia, hoia, omnia, jamne, hoia, makoia, mea, toho. Hoia, mea, hoia, hoia, omnia, hoia, jamakoia, omnia, kaoi, epe, de kamakoia, taka, jamakupata. He makata, jamakoia, apatoki, epe, he me kawatuko. Koia me no kiana, koia, awatuki, epe, he me koia, jamakoia, awatuki, epe, he me koatakoa. Koie me no ke ama koie awa toki e pe me jama koie a nia je nia e a na uia e a na u a koie ne oe 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 yo 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 Oh. Miau, 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 miau. Ia, miau, 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 he sawa. Ko ye me hiamna ko ye awa toki ye pe he me ke kukuataka. Yama ko ye te jama ko ye ema ke awa toki ye pe ema ko ye awa toki ye she amna ko ye awa toku. Hoi he he ha hum, hoi he ha hum, hoi he ha hum. Hoi he ha hum, hoi he ha hum, hoi he ha yama kuya awa tuku yepe he. Yama juku yama kupa njama kuya awa tuku yepe e me ke kakua takawa. Koe me no hiana kuya awa tuku yepe he me kaja kuya awa tuku yepe e me awa tuku yepe e wata. Koe me no kiama kuya awa tuku yepe he me ke shama kuya awa tuku yepe he me ke kakawata. Koie me no ke ama koie awa tuku yepe he me koa jama koie awa tuku yepe he me ka amne e awa tuku ua 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 hui e au hui e au hoi e au e hoi 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 amne au e au e Oe awe ni awe o ni awe oe oe ai ni ata ko ya ma ko ya pa to ko ya ba ka. He ama juma kupa tua. Hoi he ha ma ku ya awa to ke ya e me ke ka ne ka wata. Ko ye me no ke aba ku ya je me ke awa to ke ye pe e me ko ata ko ye pe he me ko a. Ko ye me no ke ama ku ya awa to ke ye pe he me ka wa jama ku ya awa to ke ye pe he me ku tawa. Koie me no ki amna koie awa juku yepe e ma koie awa tuku yepe e awa umnia jua umna awa 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 ye awa. Ho Hoe, 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 hoe. Hoe, 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 hoe. Mnia, umnia, na kumna ma batu. Koie me nukia awa tuku yepe e me kuia awa tuku yemaka. Koie me no ki ama kuia awa tuku yepe he je me ki omna kuia awa tuku yepe e wa umna uia awa tuku ya. O yama kuia awa tuku ye te ke kama kuia awa tuku yepe umna wa jawa. Koye mahna achta kakuya amna kuya unja unja gong 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 gong. Gong 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 gong. Oh, oe 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 oe. Oe 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 wow wow. Oe am oe oe au. 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 Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are complete. Just take your time. Come up with this energy. There's no rush.
Yeah, slowly, slowly. Have some water, everyone. Root was feeling a lot of energy in their legs, feeling heavy in the legs, and said, "Thank you, something is happening," and is curious why they're feeling this so much in their legs. If the channeling was to open your intuition, or maybe they misunderstood. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, it's going to happen. Your body will respond as it responds. You know, it's not going to be just say your heart energy or your expectations. You got to be careful about expectations and building
Mm,
expectations here. It can happen anywhere. I mean, I've seen people have diarrhea. I've seen people have rashes, you know, and so on. You know, it's like an energetic detoxification because you're holding on to energies that are low energy, and this is, you might say, jiggling them. You know, opening them up a bit. And so
yeah.
a lot of times your body, depending on where that energy is located, you'll feel legs, pelvis, chest, head, wherever it doesn't matter. You know, then be careful of trying to interpret or assign some kind of a meaning to location and body. It doesn't matter. It's just where the energy, the dense energies are located and they're not opening up. Okay, so you'll have a different feeling depending on where that might be. Again, humans want to understand and interpret and so on. That's a killer here. You know, this is about allowing your body, your own natural innate ability to heal, to work, to your DNA. So it's bypassing your thinking mind. And this is what gets us in trouble. And it happened to me many, many times, you know, throughout my life.
Mm,
You know, I think as opposed to just allow. So this is about allowing, just to
mm.
allow, to be a powerful observer. So you got something going on your legs, be a powerful observer. Don't try to interpret it, just to allow, and it'll work its way through. Now, it may take a short time, it may take a long time. You know, everybody's going to respond differently. So just be careful of that, you know, and that just attune to yourself, breath work, whatever works for you, you know, to help expand those energies and to help. What we're doing is actually moving those energies or transmuting them into loving light. Okay, from a low density to a higher density, and your body's just getting rid of the lower density frequencies that it's not tuned to anymore. Does that make sense?
100%. And it makes me wonder, like, what would be some good follow-up care after receiving that light language? It was quite powerful. So, for grounding or, maybe rest or journaling or
Yeah, a lot of things that were said today. Go out for a walk, hug a tree,
ground. Yeah.
hydrate, as you've been saying, Allison, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. It's really important to get, you know, you're releasing energetic toxicities. So you really want to drink a lot of water to hydrate and to allow that to flush out of your system. You know, do breath work, meditate, whatever works for you. It doesn't really matter. You know, it could be working out in a gym, you know, for all it could be. You know, it's
Hmm.
whatever works for you. And again, you know, a lot of people tell me after either a meditation with light language or the Akashic Records that they like to take a hot bath. You know, it helps soothe the system, or a hot shower if you don't have a bathtub, you know,
Oh,
whatever.
that's great. Yeah.
You know, so it's something, don't go out and do heavy exercise. Don't go play volleyball or tennis or whatever right afterwards. You know,
Yeah.
that's a bit too much. But a nice walk, you know, easy walk, or playing with your dog or cats or whatever helps you just, you know, help integrate and work through whatever you need to work through. But again, just to allow, not to interpret, not to try to understand. I mean, I was trained as an engineer and I worked in the nuclear power industry at one time, you know, so I was trained really left brain, but
Yeah.
simultaneously I also had this right brain going on, you know. So um, and our left brain wants to dominate. We're primarily a left brain society and world, you know. So as opposed to like the ancient shamans or witch doctors or and so on, you know, that were very right brain oriented. So
Mm.
it's also a balancing act. We talk about the physical body and the spiritual body. Well, really, what we want to do is balance the two together, not over exercise one or the other. A lot of people want to go one way or the other way, particularly, see a lot of people want to really be spiritual, but you may go too far, and you forget your physical body. We're here in physical body to experience God ourselves and to enhance the experience that God has, so God can grow. And as you enhance your love and compassion, you expand the universe. I mean, what we're doing here is expansive, not just on Earth, but throughout the universe, which may seem kind of crazy, but it does. I mean, we're
Mm.
beginning to understand that we are all connected. This energy field that we talk about, the Akash, which is ancient Sumerian term for primary field, primary substance, primary source of energy, is all encompassing, and it's always there. Light language is always there. The Akash is always there. Reiki is always there. I mean, you don't go 500 light years, make a right hand turn, and there's Reiki. Left hand turn. It
Oh,
does.
that's great.
We just tune in, as we said earlier, how we tune in, and it's different for everybody.
Yeah, I think that's a key point, is just remembering that this is going to show up differently for everybody, intuition and all modalities.
Right.
I'm loving that that reminder keeps coming through, and to not compare how one other person might get their intuition or feel their light language. We've got a lot of clairs popping off in the chat over here. We've got colors, swirls of purple light going on, heaviness feelings, tingling feelings, goosebumps. I'll let you read the rest of these, Bill, when you get a chance. But it seems like there was a lot of movement happening in our bodies. I know I felt a lot for sure. So to sum it up, it's like, okay, just when you're receiving the light language, just allow yourself to feel it, go with it. And then maybe if a message is meant to come through, it will at some point in time, but not to focus on the logical
Right.
messages at that time.
Don't focus on message.
Yeah.
Just
Just let it be, trusting that the energy is giving you what you need.
exactly.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
One more
Yes.
thing. There's a great book called Opening to Light Language by Jamie Price, Jamye. She's in Sedona, Arizona. She has a marvelous class, online class for teaching light language. And the book is fabulous. It's like her history of how she got into light language, and then a lot of really more thorough a look at light language than we had time for today.
Thank you for that. Thank you for the resources.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. See you soon.